Alright, so this is going to be part two of why I think organized religion is detrimental to society. This will probably be part two of two because I kind of got most of what I wanted to say in the first one done. I don't really read off the script. I kind of just, say whatever comes to mind. So, anyways, like I said in the previous one, there's been, organized religion has, caused, countless innocent deaths. And even if it's not deaths, it caused, turmoil and just psychological damage. We have kids, young kids, being taught to believe from a very early age, you have to, believe in Jesus and things like, well, for Christians. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Christians. It can be any, any kind of organized religion where you don't really think for yourself. You kind of just go by a dogma. Usually, well, actually, several dogmas, not just one. It's not enough to just assume that, someone, rose from the dead, or someone, saw an angel, or someone who got reincarnated, or the Buddha, attained nirvana. I think my Buddhism is a little, I need to do more research into that. I am certainly no Buddhist scholar, but I believe that Buddha attained nirvana, and they have different sects of Buddhism. I think the Theravada is one of them, and then they have one where you try to help people reach enlightenment, and it's all. It seems like there is some morality in there, obviously, because it seems that there are, of course, a group of people who do follow the belief and actually you know their actions reflect their belief, which is which I think is important. It's because our society is very hypocritical, and very two-faced, and but it's nice sometimes to just meet people who actually follow what they believe. It's occasionally there are indeed some Christians and some Muslims who generally follow and are good to their fellow man. However, this is not the case at large, because it's no surprise that many people are mean-spirited, and they are looking out for number one, and they just have a conformist mentality. That's very typical of people who are very let's just say faith-based, faith-oriented, and just automatically assume they're right and everyone else is wrong, which is complete arrogance and ignorance put together into one. Um, but anyway, so the point is, like I said in the previous videos, if you have organized religion, there's going to be persecution, whether it's violent or more psychological. But even more so, it slows down society's progress into really finding out what is going on. Instead of having all these religions uh, theological thinking, why don't we just take a step back and really assume as little as we can, so we can try and find out the explanation. Obviously, today, where human society does not have enough knowledge to find a systematic study for God, or at least very unlikely. The pieces probably be vague. You have some things here, some things there, but piecing it all together will be incredibly difficult. However, it's not helped any by assuming so many things about gods, anything theologically based, and it just seems like all these religions are, they don't really realize that the point of it was to answer the questions that we could not answer. And I guess they came up with answers, but they may or may not necessarily be the right ones, and they stick to it, for generation after generation after generation, and it just seems like we're not really making much progress there. And if we look at non-organized religions like atheism, deism, agnosticism, those kind of belief systems, you really, well, people there obviously they think it. Well, some atheists don't think it through, but I know some atheists who are very they reasoned to get to their belief. They didn't just blindly follow another atheist, or just say they don't believe in God because something happened to them, something like that. Just very well reasoned arguments for why they don't think it, why don't why they don't think that it exists. And of course, for deism, it's the reverse, where we also find rational arguments where we'll come to the conclusion that there is an intelligent creator, or very likely to be one. But anyway, so this is pretty much the idea, why I think organized religion is detrimental to society. So just to recap: one, we're not really making any progress to the fundamental, I should say, task of religion, where we're supposed to find the answers to the big questions that science, fails to answer. Because obviously, thousands of years ago, we didn't really have much of a scientific system. We had, and as it became more and more developed, we decided to use, God less and less. It's called God of the gaps, where there's a certain lack of scientific knowledge, and we use God to explain that lack. Um, which actually branched out to a school of thought called post-theism, where eventually society will be so advanced and so knowledgeable in science and mathematics that we won't really have a need for a god. But that's not very popular, but it's interesting to see how that emerged somewhat. But anyways, so you have the religion. The point of it is lost. Pretty much all the organized religions lost sight of what they're really trying to do a very long time ago. Second of all, they have all these massacres and all this killing of innocent people, psychological damage from people who are constantly told you're worthless. You have to you're what you're doing is constantly wrong, and then you're not worth anything, and things like it's what Christianity says. Islam says the whole sin concept, and really is not meant to be really too uplifting. And which is funny because the religions there are some people who use religion because it makes them feel good, emotional response. But nonetheless, if they really take a look at the religion, it's not really meant to make you really feel good. It's just there are so many loopholes and problems. It's just anyone who takes a look at it rationally will not really. They will have a hard time accepting everything. They would have to be doing a lot of research and constantly looking into their belief, and then most of them eventually realize that it is probably not a good idea to continue practicing, following, believing this, and that's pretty much it. So basically, the whole point of religion is gone. We have innocent people being, killed. We have plenty of people just psychologically damaged because they're told over and over again they're not worth anything. People get angry, and then of course we have the extremists take things in their own hands, and even people who don't necessarily go around committing violence, are just the extremists who have a very annoying attitude, with the arrogance and how they think they're always right, and how anyone who does not believe in their system is just you know divine retribution and everything, or they're just idiots or something like that. But anyway, so that's pretty much why organized religion is detrimental to society. See you guys in the next video series.